All right, diving in today, and we're looking at something pretty crucial, antimicrobial drugs.
Yeah.
The stuff that helps us fight infections. And you sent over a bunch of really interesting material.
Yes.
But I think our goal here is to kind of like cut through all the noise,
Yes.
and really try to understand what are the core characteristics that define these drugs,
Absolutely.
and how we can make sure that they're being used effectively and obviously safely as well.
Yeah.
And I think like looking at what these drugs target, how our bodies actually handle them, and
Yes.
then any potential downsides that come with them
Right.
is kind of where we should be focusing, right?
Absolutely. And I think a good way to really understand these medications, the sources you've provided highlight three key areas we
Mhm.
should be focusing on.
Perfect.
First is, spectrum of activity. So basically, what range of bugs can this particular drug actually hit?
Got it.
And then second is pharmacokinetics.
Ooh, big word.
Yeah. So this is basically how the body actually handles the drug, the journey of the drug through the body.
Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah. And then finally, the less glamorous part, potential toxicity and side effects,
Right.
which we do need to consider as well.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, let's jump straight into this spectrum of activity thing.
Yeah.
So, is it right to think that like some drugs are kind of like a shotgun, they just kind of hit everything,
Yeah.
and then other ones are maybe more like a sniper rifle, very targeted?
That is a perfect analogy.
Really?
Yes. Spectrum activity essentially refers to the range of different microorganisms that a drug can effectively target.
Okay.
So you have broad spectrum antibiotics that can target a wide array of bacteria.
Right.
This can be particularly useful, say, if you have an infection, but you're not entirely sure what bacteria is causing it.
Yeah, makes sense.
But the kind of downside to this is that it can also kill off a lot of the good bacteria in your body,
Right.
which isn't necessarily ideal,
Yeah.
and kind of plays into the whole antibiotic resistance problem as well.
Right.
And then you have narrow spectrum drugs, which are specifically designed to target a very particular type of bacteria.
Got it.
So if a doctor, for example, knows exactly what the infection is,
Yeah.
they might choose that
Yeah.
to, minimize collateral damage, as you said.
So it sounds like if doctors know what they're dealing with, going narrow is probably like the smarter move to, as you said, minimize damage.
Absolutely. It's much more of a targeted approach
Yeah.
and can be a lot more effective and helps kind of preserve the balance of your natural microbiome as well.
Really important. Okay, well, let's move on to this pharmacokinetics thing. I mean, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Break it down for me. What is that exactly?
Basically, think of it as the drug's adventure once it's inside your body.
Okay.
And pharmacokinetics really describes how your body processes a drug
Right.
through four main stages. And we often refer to it as ADME. So it's absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion.
ADME. Okay.
So absorption is really just the first stage. It's how the drug actually gets into your bloodstream,
Okay.
whether that be,
Mhm.
swallowing a pill
Yeah.
or getting an injection, for example.
Right.
And then you have distribution, and that basically refers to where the drug goes in the body.
So it's like the drug's finding its way to the battlefield, so to speak.
Exactly. It needs to reach wherever that infection is.
Got it.
And then next you have metabolism.
Okay.
So this is where your liver comes in. And the liver is responsible for breaking down the drug
Okay.
into a form that your body can then eliminate.
Right.
And then finally, you have excretion, which is how the drug actually leaves your body.
Okay.
And usually this is done through your kidneys. And what's really fascinating here is that,
Yeah.
everybody is different.
Right.
And so things like your liver function, your kidney function can have a huge impact on
On how the drug's processed.
exactly how that drug is processed.
So like the same dose for one person might be totally different for another person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is why understanding these pharmacokinetic properties
Mm.
is so important for doctors
Right.
to be able to determine the correct dosage of a drug
Yeah.
and also how often somebody needs to take that medication to make sure that it remains effective.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about the part that nobody really likes to talk about, toxicity and side effects.
Right.
Because it seems like every time you pick up a bottle of pills, there's this huge list
Yeah,
of potential problems.
it's true. And all drugs, including antimicrobials, do come with potential side effects.
Right.
And these can range from things that are quite mild, maybe just an upset stomach, to
Yeah.
things that are a lot more serious.
Right.
And it really is this kind of delicate balancing act
Yeah.
where the benefit of fighting the infection
Right.
has to outweigh any potential risks that might come with these side effects. And that's why, again, understanding these potential issues is so crucial for the safe use of these drugs.
Okay, so we've talked about what the drug fights, the spectrum of activity.
Right.
We've talked about its journey through the body, pharmacokinetics.
Yeah.
And now we've talked about, the potential downsides, the toxicity, and the side effects. So these three things really kind of paint a whole picture, right?
Absolutely. They really do. And I think understanding these core characteristics is fundamental to being able to,
Yeah.
appropriately choose,
Yeah.
administer, and
Right.
monitor these medications. They're essential.
It's really interesting to think about this. It seems like a huge challenge for scientists. They have to target specific infections, but they also have to minimize harm to the body.
Yes.
And then on top of that, deal with all the complexities of how our bodies process these drugs. So what are some of the big hurdles that
Yeah.
they're facing when they're trying to create new and better antimicrobial drugs?
That's a really good question and a huge challenge as well. And I think it really speaks to the intricacies of developing drugs in this area
Yeah.
and this constant kind of negotiation
Yeah.
between needing the drug to be effective but also safe.
Well, it definitely gives you a new appreciation for how important these medications are.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive today.
No problem.
I can't wait for our next exploration.
Me too.
See ya.
Bye.